What's up, all you crazy golf fanatics out there? It's Fairway to Heaven every Tuesday night right here on the All About the Birds Network. It's PGA Championship week. It's the second golf major of the year. I am Phil Stiefel, joined as always by Jason Sullivan. You know, we're here to break down all the DraftKings, FanDuel, all the betting for this week's PGA Championship. Make sure before we get started here, you do me a favor. If you're on Facebook, click share. If you're on YouTube, like it, share it out to all your friends. If you're on Twitter, click that retweet button. We'd greatly appreciate it. Fairway to Heaven and all About the Birds shows are brought to you by a bunch of great sponsors. I'm going to shout them out throughout the show. First one, 99jersey.com. Great jerseys. Use promo code AATBirds at checkout for 20% off. We'd greatly appreciate the support. Jason, we're back from Florida. Well, you were back last week. I wasn't. I was still in Florida. Are you ready for the second major?
Dude, I'm so ready. Like you said, major week. Gave us a little tune-up last week. We're ready to go now. I'm pumped.
So it's the
Love
PGA
majors.
Championship. It's at Kauai. Am I saying it right? Kauai?
Kauai, I believe it is.
Kauai Island in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It's a resort course. It is going to go down as the record for the longest major course in PGA history, measuring out at, where did I have it? Like 7,850 yards. Insane length, insane wind, because it's right, as you can see in the background here. I put up a little screenshot in the background of the course and all. It's all on the water, lots of wind, plays link style. It's going to be a crazy course this week.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like you said, 7,870 yards. Like, that is insane. Most courses are 7,400 or below. So this is going to be a bomber's paradise. Par 72, past Pelham greens. The good part about the greens this week is that the greens are going to be a lot slower. It's not going to be like the Masters or any of those tournaments where the greens are, super fast. So this is definitely the longest major course ever. The cut is a little bit different this week too, so that's something to pay attention to. It's top 70 in ties instead of the usual top 65 in ties. So you probably figure you'll get 10 or 12 extra players that'll make the cut. Absolutely. So that's interesting. You're going to want guys not only that are long at this course, but you're going to want guys that hit the fairways. Because if you get yourself off the fairways, you're going to be in big trouble on this course because you said it's so long. Off the tee, I think, is the biggest stat category, not necessarily just distance, because you don't want somebody that's going to bomb it and then bomb it, off the fairway. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So I have it written down as off the tee, distance and accuracy. Both are beyond belief important. Back onto the course for a second. Again, we're talking about how long the course is, but it's really weird because the front nine average is going to be under 3,800. So a pretty average front nine. The back nine is going to be over 4,000 yards. So they're going to have an easier or easy-ish start to the tournament. Then they're going to hit the back nine and just get whammed. There's like 4 or 5 par fours that are 450 to 500 yards. You got a 600-yard par 5. I mean, bomber's dreams. But on the flip side of the equation, if you're just a bomber that can't hit the fairway, someone like Bryson DeChambeau, you're going to have some issues this week.
Yeah, that's what scares me too, especially we'll get into the pricing a little bit coming up here. But Jordan Spieth is a guy that a few weeks ago we were talking about him as a guy that never hits the fairways, but he's going to be super popular this week. So I think he's interesting. So you have some choices. Like you said, if you're not going to be hitting the fairways, you're going to be in big, big trouble. The good part is, like I said, the greens are the easiest to putt on. Past Pelham greens are known as the easiest greens to putt on. So it should be a little bit of, help in that category.
We've talked about boatloads of times, different golfers that, well, if they can get hot with their putter for 1 week, the rest of their game, will carry them to a title. This week, those golfers are perfect. Someone like, who I do like this week a little bit, at least in DraftKings, someone like Keegan Bradley, whose putter is always atrocious, and you just don't know whether he's going to be an average or a below average putter. Well, if he putts even below average and the rest of his game's working like it's had been this year, he has a chance for some major success.
Yeah, there's another guy too I know we're going to talk about. Emiliano Grillo is the same way. He can't putt at all, but if putting is kind of neutralized at this course, then that's going to be a good thing for sure. And I don't know, I just feel like this is going to be an unusual week. Par is going to be a really good score this week. You're not going to see anything like last week where it was, minus 25, anything like that. Minus 10 could easily win this week. And if the wind kicks up, it might even be lower than that. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, if we go back to it, the last time the PGA was held here was in 2012. It was Rory's first PGA championship win. He won at minus 13, I believe it was, but he won by 8 strokes. So second place was 5 under par. So that's how tough of a course and it wasn't playing 8,000, or whatever, 7,800 yards.
Right.
It was a much shorter course back then. So that just goes to show. Last couple winners, just I always love to shout them out. You got Colin Morikawa, won during the odd season last year. Brooks Koepka won in 19 and 18, back-to-back major winner there. That's a tough feat to do right there. Hence one of the reasons why I'm not on Morikawa this week. You got Justin Thomas in 17, Jimmy Walker in 16, Jason Day in 15, and then you went Rory, Duffner, Rory, 14, 13, and 12. So Walker and Duffner are kind of two names that stick out as you don't necessarily need to be. A lot of times the majors, the cream rise to the top. And this week, again, cream will rise to the top. But for some reason, the PGA Championship tends to have that one middle of the pack or slightly below middle of the pack guy that once in a while rises to the top and at least competes for a title.
Yeah, and I think you just kind of went through the history and you see that the same kind of guy doesn't always win at the PGA. Like, yeah, there's bombers in there, but there's also shorter hitters that, Duffner doesn't hit the ball long. Jason Day really doesn't even hit the ball long. It's good putters, that end up winning, like Jason Day. So it's interesting. It's kind of a crapshoot a little bit, but my advice this week is don't get stuck just on the bombers. Focus on accuracy too.
Yeah, driving distance and accuracy, a precise approach, shots gained around the green, bogey avoidance, I guess. I did find one interesting stat, and it goes to show why I have outright bets on all three of these guys. We agree, right? Accuracy and distance, most important, right? Off the tee.
Absolutely.
There are only 3 players on tour that are in the top 40 of both. Do you know who those 3 are? Could you guess?
I would say DJ, one of them.
Nope.
Really? Okay. Let me say accuracy and distance.
Top 40.
Is Bryson one?
No.
Bryson?
No, it's Scotty Scheffler.
Okay.
Victor Hovland and Emilio Grillo.
All ball strikers.
Makes sense. Ball strikers.
Yeah.
So I was really surprised when I was going down the list because I didn't believe that stat, and I was going down it, and I'm like, well, this one guy, like I'm just thinking random guys, has got to be in the top 40. And then you look at the distance, and you're like, well, that guy only hits like you would think of just like Abraham Answer. Like you think like he's a really good player, and he's very accurate off the tee, but he's not anywhere near the top 40 in driving distance. And I was blown away by it because the top 40 are all over 305 or 307 yards average because there really are a lot of bombers on the PGA Tour right now. So it was really interesting to see that. So Scotty Scheffler, Victor Hovland, and Emilio Grillo, the only 3 guys in the top 40 of both categories.
Definitely should have got Hovland. Hovland is the best ball striker probably in the world right now. I mean, that dude is just so good off the tee. He's accurate and he's long, so he's a stud. I know we're going to talk about him this week, but yeah, you could have given me a million guesses and I wouldn't have got Grillo. So
yeah, exactly. That's why we were talking before we went on the air about who we liked and why I liked Grillo. I was like, I had to save the stat for on the air. I want to bring up. We always try to talk at points of the show about strategy and teaching because golf, fantasy golf, gambling on golf, it's still a niche. It's still something that people are learning. So I want to explain, and I know gamblers that are watching the show that gamble on football or basketball know this. But when you see a line that speaks to you, jump on it. Because I knew I was going to bet on Justin Thomas this week. I really like this course for him. I like him and Victor Hovland. And I saw it, but I tend not to place my bets till closer towards the tournament. I like to have the show, whatever. And Justin Thomas went from 18-1 to 13-1 in a one-day span. So I cost myself 5-1 return because I didn't make the bet. When I saw 18-1, I'm like, that is fantastic. That's great odds. I didn't hit click on the bet because I just wasn't ready to do it. So when you see bets out there that you like, you got to jump on them sometimes. Sometimes they will get better, but most of the time they're going to get worse, the odds. So
yeah, you posted a tweet yesterday. You said if your gut speaks to you or something, I forget what the exact term you used, but basically if your gut speaks to you, do it. Because I did the same exact thing, little segue into betting, but I bet DJ 18-1. I don't necessarily think DJ is going to win, but if you give me DJ 18-1 on any course, I'm taking it. Number one player in the world, so you take it.
Absolutely. And we could start with DJ if you want for fantasy. DJ's a guy that everybody's passing over this week because he's had a couple non-DJ-like events. But really, when you think about it, he still is the number 1 ranked player in the world. And what's the one thing that he's been struggling massively with? His putting. And what did we just say about this course? It's the easiest putting course on tour. So if putting is his one weakness, maybe he all of a sudden magically pulls it together this week. I don't know what your thoughts are as him, because he's the third priced guy, I believe, on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's interesting. I feel like
all the way down to 10-9. So you got
Right,
Rory
you
the highest at 11.5, JT 11.3, then Dustin Johnson at 10.9.
It's interesting because he's the number one player in the world. He's been the favorite in every tournament he's played in for how many years? 2 years probably. But it's interesting to see him drop a little bit. Plus, he had the phantom knee injury last week. I don't know if you saw. He was doing backflips off a boat. And then the next day, they came out and said that he had a knee injury. So that was a little shady, obviously. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to play him some this week. Probably not a lot, but just a little bit to sprinkle him in, because if you give me a list of 5 guys that can win this tournament, he's on that list. So I feel like you got to play him, especially if his ownership's super low. And you know what's a weird one for me is Rory at the top. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I feel like the recency bias on Rory is a little bit crazy, because 2 weeks ago we were talking about Rory like he was, in big trouble. He was lost. Yep. He just got a new swing coach, everything like that. He played great for one weekend. Yeah, he played great for one weekend, and now he's the favorite again. It just seems seems like we're jumping the gun a little bit on that one.
Yeah, I think people are definitely jumping the gun on Rory. I am not playing Rory much, if at all. I don't think I have a single bet on Rory here. Let me check my betting sheet here. No, I do not have. I got 22 bets placed so far for this event, and I do not have Rory's name down here. Yeah, I am not a degenerate. Again, 22 bets totaling $24.15, because I hate when my account has change in it. So I threw one bet at the 15 cents. I went back to even zeros at the end. Dave checking in as a novice golfer. You got to hang in through the whole show, because we'll drop our favorites as we go. Obviously, I already said the one thing. We both agree driving accuracy and distance are main importance, and there's only 3 guys ranked in the top 40, Grillo, Hovland, and Scotty Scheffler. So obviously, I'm betting all 3 of those as 3 of my 6 outright bets that I've got so far. But we'll get into all the names as we go on throughout the show, and we'll point out the ones we like the best. So you're off of Rory. I'm off on Rory. I think Justin Thomas, in my opinion, is my favorite to win the event. My number one. I think he's playing great golf. This course suits him extremely well. He's pricey, obviously, at $11,300, but I think it's worth it because there is, in a deep major field, a lot of value in the low 7K range.
Well, and I think, too, tee to green, he's probably the best tee to green player in the world right now. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, his biggest problem, he's been like 60th in every field in putting. Well, if this week kind of neutralizes the putting, I don't know. I don't see another guy that's better tee to green than him. So I kind of, I love JT this week, too. I think he, of the top end guys, he's my favorite by far.
Absolutely. Then you got Dustin Johnson, you got John Rahm, you got my boy Bryson DeChambeau, and you got Jordan Spieth. So you got 6 guys in that 10K and above range. Honestly, this is the first time I said it in a tweet yesterday. I am not betting DeChambeau, and I'm not picking him probably in most of my lineups. He's just not accurate enough off the tee to really, an 8,000 or a 7,800 yard course. It should be set up for him, but with the wind and the high trajectory he puts on his shot, I just can't play Bryson a lot this week.
Well, I think you brought up the most interesting point is the wind. That could be a big problem for Bryson. For a guy that hits the ball as high and as far as him, the wind could be a big, big problem. I bet him 14-1 just because I wanted to have some stake in the game with him. But I don't think I'm going to play him on DraftKings. I think it's too risky. If there's a lot of wind this weekend, he might be in big trouble. So,
okay. And then you touched on his name a few moments ago, Jordan Spieth. That's another hot name that everybody's talking about this week. His comeback is basically complete with his win at the Valero, T3 at the Masters, T9 at Byron Nelson last week. But I'm staying away. I don't have him on my betting card yet. No, I do have him top 20. I might add a top 5 play for him. I'm not really sure yet. I'll definitely be staying close eye on him for live betting action on him. But I think he's going to be one of the 2 highest owned percentage-wise guys this week, if not the number 1 owned guy in most tournaments this week.
I completely agree with you. I just saw a prediction that he would be 18%. I think it's going to be way higher than that. I think there's a better chance that it's 28% versus 18. I think it's going to be 25 plus easy.
I don't know if I was reading or listening to the Rick Run Good stuff, because I listen and I read all his stuff. Rick Run Good, one of the best golf podcasters and handicappers out there.
For sure.
The guy's always pick a winner. He put out in either one of his articles or on one of his shows that he thinks Spieth might be between 25 and 30% in the top tournament, the top DraftKings events, the Millionaire Maker and stuff like that, which if you're 25 to 30% and spending over 10K, you better win it, because otherwise you're not getting a good enough return. If he's 10th place, 30% owned, that's not a good enough return for me.
No, I completely agree with you. And he's playing awesome right now, but I don't feel like this course fits him at all. Of course, none of the courses that they've been playing recently really fit him all that well either. He's been playing lights out. So what do I know?
Well, he's your boy. You love when Jordan.
I do love Jordan. I do love Jordan Spieth. So I'll play him some, but like you said, 30%. I don't know. That's pretty hefty.
So let's get into the 9K range, because it's a very actually small 9K range. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 8 guys in the 9K range. So you got the defending champ,
but it's loaded.
It is absolutely loaded.
Yeah.
You got the defending champ, Colin Morikawa, which the PGA Championship's not like the Masters. You can't really go on course history. It hasn't been played here since 2012. So you got Colin Morikawa. You got the often forgotten about Xander Schauffele. You got Brooks Koepka, 2-time winner. You got the Masters winner, Matsuyama, who for some reason 9,400 for the Masters champion. That seems odd to me and almost like a trap. Then you got my favorite, right with JT, Victor Hovland. You got Webb Simpson. You got former major winner Patrick Reed, and you got Patrick Cantlay. You can go first. What are you looking at with these 8 names?
So there's 2 that I love. I think they're both going to be super popular. Xander Schauffele is my favorite in this range. He's 9,600. I think he's going to be super popular. But listen to this stat. He's played in 15 majors in his career. 8 of them he's finished in the top 10. So he's finishing in the top 10 more than half the time in majors. So that's all I need to know. I think he's going to be the highest owned guy over 9,500 this week. T18 or better in his last 4 starts. He's great tee to green, great on par 5s, good scrambler, good around the green, and he can putt. He really doesn't have a hole in his game. So I like him a lot. My biggest question with him is, can he win? I mean, we talk about 5th place Finau all the time, but I think the same thing kind of can be said about Schauffele too. He's close all the time, but he never wins.
Yeah, I mean, you've pretty much convinced me and agreed that, placing a top 10 bet on him to finish should be added from bet 22 to bet 23 for me. But yeah, he is literally turning into 5th place Finau, which, you know what, I was on the DraftKings screen, so I wasn't prepped for the 5th place Finau comment. We'll throw it up on the screen anyway. There it is, 5th place Finau. For some reason, everybody wanted this hat or this design, and no one's bought it. And it's actually better looking than I thought it would come out. So buy your 5th place Finau hat at aatbirds.com/shop.
I should give you some kind of signal. Like I'll do like an eyebrow scratch or something when I'm about to say it. So you get ready.
All right. So who's your second main guy in the 9K range?
Second one, you kind of talked about him already. That was Victor Hovland. 4 top 25s in his last 4 events. He's awesome tee to green, awesome on par 5s. He's a good scrambler. He can't putt at all, but like we said, these greens are easier to putt on. So I love him.
He's won twice on courses with these types of greens. He's
going to be super high owned. He's another guy that might be 25% owned, but I like him a lot.
The Rick Run Good thing said 25 to 30 for Spieth and probably between like 22 and 26 for Victor Hovland probably. Which
is okay. You can't play those guys together, obviously. No. So that's the biggest thing. If you're looking for a pivot in this range, though, I think Patrick Reed might be a good pivot. He is really good on long and hard courses, which is this course fits that. So I think he might be single digit owned this week. So I like him a lot this week. What are your thoughts on?
Well, I got Patrick Reed as an outright bet. I got him as a top 10 bet and a top 20 bet. Me too. So he's my number 3. Like right now, I got JT as my number 1 with a really, really close second, Victor Hovland. That's why I've bet more than my normal $1 bet on both those guys. But Patrick Reed is literally 1C to me. I love him on these tough courses, like you said. He's a major champion, but he's also a guy in majors that always competes. Always. He's not going to miss the cut. He's not going to be outside the top 20. He's going to be there on Sunday. If the conditions are tough, I mean, if a tournament's going to finish with a winner at -10, you better believe Patrick Reed's going to be there at -7 to -10 with the leader.
That's the best point right there. Exactly. If it gets really hard over the weekend, which Sunday is supposed to be a nightmare. So if it gets hard on Sunday and the winning score is low or high, whatever way you want to look at it, I love him. I love him in the win. He's a grinder. I mean, his stats aren't going to blow you away at all, but if you just look at him and you look at his game, he's a good putter. He's good around the greens. He's pretty good off the tee. He's just solid in every category. He's not going to beat himself either, which is good.
So 2 names I don't have on any of my lists. I don't have them in any of my lineups. First off, like I said, I'm a little confused why we're all staying away from Matsuyama, the reigning Masters champion, who, again, he's the reigning Masters champion, which makes him, a really great player. And a guy that I seem to be fading everywhere I look is Patrick Cantlay. Patrick Cantlay obviously is awful recency form. I think he's missed, 3 or 4 cuts in a row?
3, I think, in a row, yeah.
So why are we avoiding Matsuyama and Cantlay?
Cantlay for sure is a no-brainer. I'm definitely not playing him. Matsuyama, I've been thinking about. I think people are just nervous about the fact that he won. It was such a big thing for his country. It wasn't just a win for him. It was a big win for his whole country. So people are kind of wondering where his head's at. Is he, focused on this at all? So it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with Matsuyama. I feel like he's a little overpriced. I had a philosophy before the Masters of when's the last time that Matsuyama has really burned you when you didn't play him, which for a long time that stood up and I was good. And then I didn't play him at the Masters and he won the Masters. So there you have it.
All right.
Really great analysis right there.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like your analysis on the new Eagles pickup that you had in our little group chat earlier.
When's the last time he burned you? Damn, he burned you.
So anyway, other names, Webb Simpson, another consistent guy. I just don't know if he has the distance off the tee to compete big picture here. And Brooks Koepka, a 2-time PGA champion. I mean, I still can't buy into the knee. I just can't make bets or picks on a guy who still cannot bend that knee or bend over.
Right. That's the biggest thing. If you've seen him play, the guy can't even bend over. So I don't know how he's going to play. He's got no movement in his knee yet. So he's a fade for me too.
Yeah. I mean, he missed it last week on a super easy course. I mean, he shot 2 under or 3 under in the first 2 rounds. Wasn't enough. But everybody else was shooting 6 to 10 under those rounds. So it just goes to show he's not 100%. I was watching him on the range yesterday or today, and you could just tell after every so many hits that the wind scene and stuff like that, he's not 100%.
No. I don't know why he just doesn't try to get healthy. Why doesn't he just take some time off and try to get healthy for the U.S. Open? I mean, it's kind of crazy.
It really is. All right, let's jump right into the 8K range. Lots of good names here. Of course, you got Cam Smith, Zalatoris, Berger, fifth. Oh, I gotta have it ready to say it. I gotta teach you how to control the thing. So when I'm talking, you got it. You got Finau. You got 5th place Finau in there. You got Scotty Scheffler, who I think is severely underpriced at 8,500. You got Matthew Fitzpatrick, Sung Jae Im, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Hatton, and Oost, all in the 8K range.
Again, why don't you go first in this range?
Originally, my original notes had Oost as the only guy I really, really loved in this range. I do love Oost a lot. I got a top 20 bet on him. I'm playing him in a whole bunch of my in my games. An interesting stat. So he's played in 48 majors in his career. I know this doesn't sound like much, but for a mid-level guy like him, he's finished in the top 25 21 of the 48 times. So almost 50% top 25 finishes for him. And he's playing great right now as well. So, recency form plus big event form, I like him. But I like Scotty Scheffler as well. I got an outright bet on him as well. But Daniel Berger, I keep going back to the name on Daniel Berger. I even threw a last-second outright bet on him. And I'm not sure why. Because, he's only finished in the top 10 twice in a major. He finished, I think, in the top 20 once in the PGA Championship. But 19 of his last 25 events played, he's finished in the top 25. So his recency form is probably some of the best on tour.
Yeah. He's a really good player, too. He's got sneaky distance. He's accurate. He's a good putter. So I don't hate that play either. 4 top 18s in his last 5 starts, too. So like you said, the recency form is definitely there. So I don't mind that play.
So what are you looking at in this 8K range?
So my 2 favorite in this range are Cam Smith at 8,900. It's a little bit of sticker shock just because I think he's priced a little bit high, but he's really good in the wind. He's really good on tough courses, and he's good in majors too. He has 5 top 17s in his last 6 starts too, so he's been playing really well lately. So I like him a lot, especially if he plays difficult with the wind this week. And I'm going to our boy 5th place Finau, who I'm calling it right now, top 3 this week for Finau.
Top 3? So I have to replace the 5th place Finau hat
3rd place Finau
with a 3rd place Finau hat next week. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. So the reason I say that is that the more longer and difficult the course is, the better Finau is. Finau's another guy too. He's played in 16 majors in his career, and 6 of them have been top 10s. So I don't know. I feel like you should always play Finau in majors, especially if he's 8,600. That's kind of always been my philosophy. And I know he's not in good form right now, but I like his fit for this course. He's a bomber too. So
yeah.
We shall see.
What about second place Masters runner up Will Zalatoris this week?
I feel like he's on the hype. I don't know. He's getting super hyped up this week again. I don't think he's been that good recently. I don't know. I think I'm probably off him this week.
Missed cut, T42 his last 3 events.
Yeah, like he's been okay, but he barely made the cut on the number last week too. So he finished T17, which is great. To his credit, it was great, which I needed him to be good last week. But I don't know. I feel like he's just playing okay right now, and I feel like there's better options. One sneaky play in this range is Matthew Fitzpatrick, especially if the course plays difficult. He's really good on difficult courses, and he's not long at all, but he's very accurate. So I don't mind Matthew Fitzpatrick this week.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking Matthew Fitzpatrick, even with his accuracy, that his driving distance is so short that once he gets to the back 9, and he's got to have 490, 480, 490 back-to-back to hold 605 on a par 5. Is he even going to be able to, like, shoot par on that back 9?
It's going to depend on the weather. If the weather's bad, he's going to be a great play. The problem is we won't know if the weather's bad until the tournament starts, really. So, yeah. I'm going to take a couple shots on him, though, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be in 1 or 2 of my lineups. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think – I don't have him on I don't have him on my bet card at all. So, not even as a top 20 finish. So, any other names you want to touch on? Hatton, Rose, Fleetwood, any of those guys?
I don't hate Fleetwood. I'll probably sprinkle him in a couple lineups.
Again,
but that's
when you have tough, windy courses, and Pete Dye course. Again, this is a Pete Dye course too. Tommy Fleetwood is a Pete Dye master. You always here we go. Justin Rose, Adam Scott. Justin Rose was just one of the names on that bottom end. Justin Rose is 8,100. Adam Scott 7,900. Do you want to tackle that question real quick?
Yeah, I can. So they seem similar on paper. But the problem is I think they're not. I feel like Rose is kind of a boomer bust guy. And I feel like Adam Scott is consistent, but he's never going to give you above a T30, T35, somewhere in that range. So I don't know. I feel like Rose is a sneakier play, but I feel like if you're just looking for a guy that's going to make the cut, Adam Scott. So
I think Adam Scott at 7,900 is a lock to make the cut, but I just don't see him contending to win. So I wouldn't be betting him. But you might actually see Adam Scott or Justin Rose, both of them actually, probably in 1 or 2 of my lineups when you need to go for because you're not going to get guys like that every single week in that price range. Some weeks the lighter fields are going to be up in the upper 8s, low 9s. So I
think it's one of those things too that it depends on the lineup that you're making. If you're looking for, you might be looking for a guy. You might have a lot of these sporadic guys where they're kind of boom or bust, and you're looking for a guy to just make the cut, which in that case Adam Scott's great. Or you may have kind of a chalkier lineup where you're looking for just a guy that you want, a boom or bust guy, which Rose is that guy too. So
did you see the pairing this pair that I put out there? I mean, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, and Brooks Koepka, which again, no offense, Brooks Koepka is going to miss the cut out of these 3 guys.
Yeah.
If I had to play some money, I bet him to miss the cut at the Masters. I hit that bet. I don't know if I'm confident enough to say missed cut. I may make that bet 25. We'll see. I keep adding more and more bets to my lineup here.
I have a theory about this pairing too. I don't know if it's just recency bias or just the last few times that I remember, but whenever Rory is paired with people like Justin Thomas and Brooks Koepka, for some reason he doesn't play as well. I don't know if it's just happened the last couple times, but that's my theory on this week. And JT rises to the top in that group, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I love JT this week. I will not be surprised if he wins his second, hoists his second Wanamaker trophy. All right, so 7K range, top half. 7K range is just loaded with names. Obviously Adam Scott, but then you got Abraham Answer, Shane Lowry, Neiman, Casey, Day, Garcia, Leishman, Connors, Woodland, Burns, which Burns is tricky at 7,500. You got Bubba, you got Higo, you got Harmon. We'll stop there, then we'll go to the lower end in a minute. Obviously, you guys know, everybody that watches this show regularly knows I'm a Abraham Answer fan. I don't have an outright bet on him, but I got a top 10 and a top 20 bet on him, and I absolutely love him this week. Fantasy-wise, so I'm going to ask you about lineup construction later on when we build our lineup, but he will probably be one of the 2 or 3 most popular names in all my lineups. He's probably going to be in 80, 90% of my lineups.
No, I completely agree with you. I don't have any top 10 or top 20 bets on him, but I have an outright on him. I think it's 55 to 1. So Yeah, I think the same thing you think. No worse than 26 in his last 8 starts. He's super accurate. 2 top 5s in his last 2 starts. The dude is just he loves Pete Dye courses. He fits his course really well. He's not long, but he's super accurate. And he doesn't make mistakes. So I love him.
He's long enough. Where Matthew Fitzpatrick, I'm questioning his length. Abraham Ancer, I think his length can just barely hold on and be just enough.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So what would be your? I took him off the board. Who's your next most favorite out of these names that I've mentioned here?
So I actually have 2. One's at 7,800. Shane Lowry. He's also a major winner. He won the Open a few years ago. Yep. He's really good on long, hard courses as well, which is funny because he's not super long either, and he's not super accurate, but he's really good on hard courses. So I like him, especially if the wind picks up. The other one's Paul Casey. I feel like he's going to be super popular this week, but he's been in awesome form pretty much the entire year in 2021. So I like him a lot. He has a really good track record at PGA championships, and I feel like he's a really good course fit here.
And both Lowry and Casey, 2 more European guys that also play well in the wind. Lowry won an Open championship. That just tells you right there what you need to know about Lowry for this event this week.
100% agree with you.
I also like I'm not sure why, but distance definitely. His accuracy isn't as bad as people think. He's not like top 10 in accuracy or anything like that. But I love Bubba Watson this week. I got a top 20 bet on him. I don't have any bigger bets on him, but Bubba Watson, multi-time major winner at 7,500. I think it's at least a 40 to 50% of my lineup kind of guy right there.
So that's a good segue into one of my favorite facts of the week. Bubba has 12 wins in his career. 5 of them are on Pete Dye courses. So he obviously likes Pete Dye courses. So
I might be up in my Bubba bets this week. I'm going to be up to like 30 bets by the end of this show.
You're going to be broke or really rich. One of the 2.
Yeah, exactly. So what was that? 5 out of 12?
5 out of 12 wins are at Pete Dye courses.
That's crazy.
You play Bubba at Bubba courses. We always say it, but this is obviously Pete Dye courses.
I think you said that before on this show.
Once or twice.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think of the misprice, in my opinion, of the hot guy on tour right now, one Sam Burns, at only 7,500?
He's interesting. I feel like he's better on easier courses where the score goes up higher.
Absolutely.
I don't think he would be priced in this price range had the pricing not come out last week. I feel like if they would have waited like normal until Monday, I feel like he would have been a lot higher price, probably around 8,000 or 8,200. But he's been great. But I just feel like he's been great on easier courses, so I worry about him. I made one lineup so far, and I put Burns in that, but I don't know. I don't feel super confident in it. What about you?
I fade him in this price range because I think you get better value with Bubba Watson at 7,500. Or taking Paul Casey at 7,700, or once we get into the lower 7Ks, there's some other names down there that I like. Yeah. I just don't think you need to spend 75. I think he's going to have, because of that price tag, considering who he is and all that, he's going to have a high ownership. He's not going to be JT's 25% or Spieth 25% owned, but he's going to have a pretty high ownership, and I just don't think he's worth the price.
Yeah, he might be 15 or 20%. And there's some interesting pivots right around him, too. Gary Woodland, you mentioned earlier. I like Gary Woodland this week. Brian Harmon, too. I know that's your guy. He's been really consistent recently for like the past probably 2 months. So I think he's 7,300. I don't mind him either. So I think there's pivot options for sure. Well,
7,300, if you want to stick to 7,300, one of the best players on tour this year, Charlie Hoffman. Yep. He's top 4 in all the major shots gained categories, 5th in approach. The guy plays really well. He plays well in majors, and he's another guy that plays well on tough courses.
Of courses, yeah, exactly.
He's got T18, I like him. T18, 2, T34, T14. So he's been playing good golf, really good golf.
I always like him in majors too. Like you said, he's good on tough courses. Max Homa's interesting to me. He is playing a lot better this year than he's ever played in his life. Plus, he has bones on the bag this week. So whoever usually has bones on the bag usually does pretty well. So I like him. Kokrak, I feel like 7,100. I feel like he's underpriced this week too. Okay. He is kind of a sneaky long hitter. He's really good with the irons, decent putter. I think just 7,100. If you're looking for a guy down there that's going to make the cut and could have top 20 upside, I think it could be him.
Yeah, I got one other name. Well, first off, I said Charlie Hoffman. You said Max Homa. We eliminated the first ever DTM guy, dead to me, Matt Wolf, who was already withdrawn from another event. why he keeps entering these events to withdraw. At least he withdrew before it started and not after he teed off on the first hole.
What's his deal? Is he hurt?
I don't know what his
He's
deal
gotta
is.
Be, right?
He's got to be. Some people are saying that he's got some mental issues as well.
Great. Perfect.
I don't know. But another name at the 7,300 that I love this week, because, again, what was one of the first things we said? These putting greens, anyone can putt. Keegan Bradley, 7,300. I think he's going to have a pretty decent ownership percentage. But at 100 to 1, I got first off, I got a first-round leader bet on him. I got a top 20 bet on him. And it's one of my potential 40 bets is him outright at 100 to 1. But he will be in at least 50% of my DraftKings lineup. Love Keegan.
You love Keegan. I like Keegan too. He's been actually. I should rephrase that. I actually don't like Keegan at all, but I like him in DraftKings. I think that's a good price for him too, and he's been playing really good lately. So on a course that you don't have to putt
23, 30, 10.
Yeah, he's been good.
Yeah.
What about your last guy?
I'm very high on Keegan. Very high on Keegan.
You want to talk about Emiliano Grillo?
Well, I think I already said Emilio Grillo in the intro to the show, in the beginning of the show. He's $7K first off. Super cheap. I've got an outright bet on him, 150 to 1. I got a first-round leader bet on him, 100 to 1, and a top 20 bet on him. And the reason is because there's only 3 guys, like I said at the beginning of the show, in the top 40 in both accuracy off the tee and distance off the tee. And he is one of them. So I think that says something there. But on top of that, whereas my other Grillo, in his last 3 events on these greens, he's got a T6, T11, T8. Plus his last event played, the RBC, he finished in second place. Well, that was like a couple events ago. But still, I mean, the guy's playing really good golf. He's played really good on these greens. He hits the ball accurately off the tee. What's there not to love about all that I said at 7K for a guy?
I agree with you. I just have one question for you. So I see his ownership projection being at 14%. Does that sway you at all?
In my bets, no. In my DraftKings, it'll make me question it a little bit. But if you're getting somebody at 7K and he's owned 14%, even say 15%, what does he have to finish to pay off that price?
Right.
He's got to finish what? T20, T25?
Not even yet. Probably T30,
T35. T25, and you still got good value. And I'm really confident that he could be a T25 or better this week. Yeah. So I'm not scared by the 14% price tag there on him. Not at all. Any other guys in the 7K range? Cameron Champ. You already said you like Kokrak.
I don't hate Cameron Champ.
Fowler. Ricky Fowler should just withdraw now because he's not making the cut.
Ricky Fowler. Not Ricky. I love Ricky, but not Ricky Fowler. That's for sure.
Ian, Matt Jones, Billy Horschel.
I don't hate Cameron Champ. Cameron Champ's a bomber, and I feel like if you're just trying to find someone with high upside, I feel like he can be decent this week. Mm-hmm. I think he played the USO or the PGA once, and I think he did pretty well, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. I didn't even bring up the course history and recency history because
Cameron Champ, he finished in 10th last year, so pretty good.
All right, let's dive in. Before we get into picking our lineup, just give me 1 or 2 names in the 6K range. We don't have to list all of them. There's a lot of names. Last week's winner, K.H. Lee, who I had in almost every single lineup, and a top 10 bet on him last week. K.H. Lee, loved him last week. Any guys in this tier that you like?
Stuart Sink, 6,900. Mm-hmm. He's a different player, I feel like, than he used to be. He's in great form. I feel like he's got a lot of upside at 6,900. And then the other one, he missed the cut last week and burned me. But Thomas Peters is a bomber. He has been pretty good in PGAs in his career, T23 and T6 in his last 2. So I like him as a guy with some pretty good upside.
Okay.
What about you?
First one I like a lot is Ryan Palmer, 6,900. 15 straight cuts made, 6 of them in the top 20. So at 6,900, I'm not betting him to win or not making any bets on him. But when we get into building a lineup, if you want some of those top-end guys, in an event like this, you're going to have to pick a 6K guy maybe. Ryan Palmer, 6,900. Don't think you can go wrong there at all. Where was my other 6K guy here? I had them both circled. Dylan Fratelli maybe as a long shot. PGA champions do sometimes have the long shots. You know, he's 33rd last year at the PGA. He finished 5th at the Masters. You know, 3rd in shots gained around the green compared to the field. So he's got some value there at 6,500 maybe in one lineup to balance something out. And then I brought up his name before the show. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Dean Burmester. He's got a win, a 4th, and a 6th across the pond in Europe. So recency-wise, he's playing really well right now.
I have nothing to add on him other than that's pretty good recent form.
Yeah, recency form matters.
Yeah, I never even heard of the guy, but that's good. That's good recent form.
All right. Well, let's jump into this here real quick. Let's build a lineup that is surely to fail. Pick a number.
It's surely to win the Million Maker this week.
I'm writing it down. I'm writing a number between 1 and 10. You go first.
4.
All right, I win. I wrote down 8. I write down 8 for everything.
So if I didn't guess it, I lost.
Yeah, basically. So I get to go first. So I'm going to go first, and then you're going to get the second and the third pick. Okay. Then I'm going to go 4 and 5, and you're going to have to finish it out. I'm just making up the rules as we go. That's what I like to do.
I'm thinking a number between 1 and 100. 25. Yeah.
Nope. Done. At least I wrote it down. I don't even know what's going on anymore. All right. I'm just going to start it out with Victor Hovland right off the bat. 9,300. So now you get to pick 2 guys for the next 2 spots.
Right. I'm going to try to find a value guy. I'm going to go Max Homa, 7,300.
Okay. What you get? Can't believe he's 7,300.
Neither can I. And then I'm going to go with Abraham Answer, 7,900.
I absolutely love that pick right there. So that leaves me with 8,500. So I get the next 2. So I'm going to go value as well and go with Ryan Palmer because I think that's a great way to up what we have left in our lineup. Puts us at 9,300. I'm going to take the next guy, and I am going to do something to keep some value. See if you want to pick somebody big at the top. Let me just see here who I'm going with here. I want to pick someone in the mid-8s. Give you some more room. I know you're really high on Tony Finau, but I can never bet Tony Finau. I'm going to go Daniel Berger this week at 8,700. So that leaves you at 9,900 to finish our lineup out.
So this is the easiest pick of the whole thing for me. I'm going Xander.
That's a great pick.
Yep.
Love it.
That's
so there's our lineup.
I
didn't have to write it down because I actually used one of my pre-reserved, quarter tickets. So I'm only putting it in a quarter lineup because we have such great track record with these.
I feel like this is a good lineup, though. I feel like
it's a really good lineup.
Yeah.
So we got Victor Hovland, Xander Schauffele. They're our top guys. Daniel Berger. Then we go with some value with Answer, Palmer, Max Homa. I like it a lot.
I like it too. A lot of upside.
Absolutely a lot of upside there with that lineup. Let's take that off there so no one else sees any of my other lineups that are going on there. All right. So before we wrap this show up, bets. So I know I've already said I got JT, I got Victor Hovland, I got Patrick Reed. I've already thrown a Daniel Berger, a Scotty Scheffler, and a Grillo. So I got 6 outright bets. What are your outright bets that you've got so far?
I got Patrick Reed, 33-1. I have Answer at 50-1. Schwartzel at 150-1. Bryson at 14-1, and Morikawa at 25-1.
So you think Morikawa's got a chance at repeating?
So I'm kind of torn by this. So I don't like to play Morikawa in DraftKings very often because I feel like, I don't know, he just doesn't fit what I do most of the time. So I like, especially in tournaments that he fits the course really well, I like to bet him. So I kind of bet him to hedge my DraftKings lineups, or lack thereof, I should say.
Okay. All right. So I want to ask you a strategy here. I almost forgot about it here. So normally I'm a small bettor, and I'm also a small DraftKings guy. I play 3-4 lineups a week, maybe 5, except for come major weeks when I've got 9-10 lineups set up for this week. I know you play 10-15 lineups some weeks, right?
Yeah, so usually about 12 or 15, yep.
So I see a lot of people talking about their player pools where they take their top 25 or 30 guys they like. So the question is, how many lineups is too many lineups to put? So I love JT and Victor Hovland. Say pricing was not an issue. How many lineups is too many lineups to put them in? How do I justify my favorite guys going? Say I have 10 lineups. Should I be putting them in 7 or 8 of them, or should I be stopping at a certain number?
No, I like putting them in 7 or 8. I'll never put anybody in 100 just because I feel like if they miss the cut, I don't want my whole week to be over. So, But I feel like 7 or 8 is definitely fair. I would say, yeah. If I typically what I do is I find a core, which is like 4 players that I want to have in, say, 80% of my lineups. And then I have other plays, which I'll have in like 4 or 5 of my lineups too. I try to have kind of equal shares, especially of the guys that I'm not as confident about. I try to have equal shares of them, but I have like I said, 3 or 4 guys that I'll go, 80, 90%.
And when you put all 3 or 4 of those guys in all the same lineups?
No, I wouldn't say that necessarily. What I try to do,
I'm trying to find a way to, as I at 9, 10, 11 lineups this week, I'm trying to find a way to balance out my top 3 or 4 plays, how many times to cross them together, how many times to separate them out. It's a fine line. And for somebody that doesn't play a lot of lineups, it can get kind of confusing because you don't want 10 completely unique lineups with 5 or 6 different guys in every single lineup, because then you might only hit on one and you're not going to hit on any others.
Right.
So how do you balance that out?
There's definitely I don't know. I feel like you got to find the happy medium, because if you spread it out too much, you won't. If you hit, you're not going to hit big. If the thing is, you want to hit big. If you hit, you want your guys to hit big. So I think Rick Run Good was the one that said this. But I started doing this recently too. Is when you're building a lineup, I don't necessarily say, okay, I'm putting these 3 guys in. I say, who is my favorite guy? Who's the one guy I need to have in my lineup? Okay, Xander. Okay, so Xander's the one guy. Okay. Now, who's the second guy that I need to have in my lineup? Say probably Answer. Okay, I put Answer in. Then I build based on that. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do the last 5-6 weeks. And it's really been working a lot too. Find the 2 guys that you have to have in your lineup, and then kind of build the rest as you go.
So the 2 guys I have to have, just say, because you can't have JT and Hovland in every single lineup. Say it's Hovland and Berger, or Hovland and Scotty Scheffler. Say they're my 2 guys. Build 7 lineups. 7 different lineups with both those guys in it.
Yeah, and then just build around those 2 guys.
And then build around them differently. So 2 guys in 7 lineups together is not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
I'm just trying to
hit and miss, but the problem is, if you have a week where they don't hit, it's going to suck. But if you have a week where they do hit, you're going to have 7 lineups where they both hit. So that's huge.
And they're all going to cash at the same time. Yeah. Exactly. So the week I pick them, they're all going to fail.
So just let me know who you're picking, and I won't pick them.
No, basically that's the way it is. All right, do you got anything to say? This show actually went by really fast. I do have, we've set our bets. I do have top 10 bets on JT Hovland, Read and Answer as well. I got Keegan Bradley and Gorilla's first round leaders, which are just first round leader bet. It's basically a shot in the dark. It's like throwing a dart at a wall and seeing what sticks and all. And you said, who do you have at 150 to 1? Oost?
Schwartzel.
I got Gorilla at 150 to 1. But really, when you're betting guys that are 150 to 1, you're really hoping that they're competing and you get offered, $1.50 to cash out to make some kind of – you don't expect them to hang on and win the event.
Right, exactly. And if they do, you're pumped.
Yeah, any prop bets, any other side bets that you saw that you liked this week?
No, I haven't done any yet, but I'm going to do some tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the missed cut. I haven't looked at the top lefty or any of that stuff just yet. Waiting to see how this show goes and what kind of information you gave me before I made any more bets.
I'm surprised, because if there's a bet, you've probably made it this week. So,
dude, well, I have 22, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you gave me 5 more bets to write down here that I got to go make now. So yeah, if I could spend $30 and come away with $35 by the end of the weekend, I'll be a happy man.
Of course, yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And if JT wins or Hovland wins, then it'll be a very profitable weekend. If Grillo wins and finishes in the first round lead, then it'll be a great weekend.
That'll be a great weekend.
That'd be
the beers are on you next time. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I think they were on me. I think you were supposed to buy, and I bought the first bucket. What the hell? How did I lose out on that one?
That is true.
True story.
True story.
Real quick before we go off the air here, again, fifth place fee now.
Yep.
Changing it next week to third place fee now. And of course, there's other great gear. We got Fairway to Heaven T-shirts and stuff like that, and hoodies on our site there. Again, got to thank our sponsors. Already shouted out 99jerseys.com at the beginning of the show. Our shop store, oddsjam.com. Use their arbitrage calculator. Never lose money again when making your bets. Statement games, I'm sure they have a PGA Championship statement game contest up on their website. All the links to these sites are in the descriptions of this show on Facebook and YouTube, or you can follow me on Twitter at Bearded Knowledge. I always put them in my comments on that on my account there. And of course, Father's Day is coming up in a few weeks. Manscaped.com. Great place to get gifts for dad. 20% off with AAT birds and free shipping. Jason, Any final thoughts? Any parting thoughts before we sign off for the day?
No, I'm just pumped for this week. Good luck to everybody. Let us know if you have any questions or lineup building too.
Yeah, Sunday is going to be huge because Sunday you got the final round of the PGA Championship. You got the Phillies Red Sox, and you got Game 1 Sixers versus. It doesn't matter because they're going to beat whoever they play in the first round anyway.
I like
so
that.
It's going to be a huge weekend Sunday on sports. I'm literally not going to leave my couch probably the entire Sunday.
Nice. That's awesome.
The days of no drinking will end by Sunday if they don't before then.
Must be nice to have teams in the playoffs. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, well, Detroit, come on. Your boy Ben Wallace got elected to the Hall of Fame.
He did.
You had your moment, with Larry Brown and another Philly guy and Rip Hamilton. Come on,
there you go.
You had your moment in the sun.
Listen, the early 2000s and the 99 and the 90s, they were great to us. So
yeah, exactly.
First
of all, you had multiple because you also had the Bad Boys in the 80s too. So you had
the Red Wings.
Yeah.
And the Red Wings for 2 decades.
Detroit, you've had plenty. You had Barry Sanders and Megatron.
Yeah.
You won nothing, but you still had 2 great players there.
That's true.
You guys have won plenty. You swept us in the 96 Stanley Cup. You've done plenty. It's time for you guys to take a back seat to Philly.
Oh, we're taking a back seat, all right, in every sport.
You're taking a way in the back of the bus for you guys. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Enjoy the PGA Championship. Of course, I should say, bet responsibly, of course, Don't place 22 bets like me, unless they're all dollar bets like me. Don't go betting $50 a bet, like others do. Have
Gambling
fun.
problem. Please call.
Yeah, as Chad said on a show a few weeks ago when he was on our show, if you could break even, make a couple bucks, it's all about having fun and enjoying the game. The more I bet, the more I do these fantasy lineups and break even, the more I'm watching golf, the more I'm enjoying the sport. I just got to get out and play some golf a little bit more frequently. That's all.
That's right.
Yeah. So everybody have a great night. Jason, thank you very much. That's Jason Sullivan. I am Phil Stifle. This is Fairway to Heaven on the All About the Birds Network. Stay tuned tomorrow night, Wednesday, always 9:15, the All About the Birds weekly report. And with that, y'all have a great weekend.
Support for All About the Birds is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for our listeners, 20% off plus free shipping with the code AATBIRDS at manscaped.com. Manscaped hooked us up with a bunch of tools and formulations from their Perfect Package 3.0 kit, including the Lawnmower 3.0, which comes with an LED light for a more precise shave and is waterproof to make your shower shave clean and easy. The Perfect Package also includes a deodorant for your undercarriage to prevent odors and chafing, a reviving lotion, a pair of boxers and a t-shirt, not to mention a travel bag to store all your grooming goodies. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBIRDS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code AATBIRDS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.